Hey everyone, I'm Wingspan TT, and I've had way too many glasses of Moscato. So I'm just gonna, people were asking me like, oh, how do you plan a deck? And I'm like, go to my website and just read about it. But I guess I didn't really explain it, so I'm just gonna do it. So Dream Puppets, I paid $1 and I got all the cards. Look at, oh my god, look at that. One of them's already in here. I don't know which one. If you guys can spot which one, you win a prize, right? It's like name that Pokemon. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk my way through like how do I create these decks? How do I create a deck list? And then hopefully my inebriated self is smart enough to like remember how to actually do this. So I think the one thing you want to think about when you first go into this is kind of like, what is your game plan? Obviously with Jace's Dream Puppets deck, and I've never looked at this deck at all, ever before. I have no clue what the hell is even in it other than from facing people, alright? The first thing you want to ask yourself is like, what is the goal of the deck? The goal of the deck is obviously to mill people to death, but you can't just go straight mill because you're going to get overrun with, what are those little things with the big teeth called? The Vorcha? The Goblins! Alright, Goblins. And Peacekeepers and other fast decks can just overrun you. So you want to keep that in mind. So let's just go through this. So first of all, I wish you could just take the cards out of the bottom first and then add cards at the top. If you try to go below 60, they'll tell you can't do that. So unfortunately, you cannot do it that way. You have to add the cards to the top first. So the first thing I want to do is look at the cards up here, the cost log. We want to go at the bottom of the mana curve and look at which cards we want to get out first on the board. And first, about cards that are absolutely necessary, cards necessary to survive. Jace's Phantasm, I think, is a no-brainer. It's a 1/1 flying for 1 mana, which is already great. It becomes a 5/5 flying, though, if you mill them enough. Okay, ooh, I don't know how that works. It's like a Manta Ray, and Jace comes out of his friggin' hands. I don't know. Okay, that's great. And then let's look at what other creatures we have. What? The next creature is a 3 mana, alright? So, we definitely need more creatures to block. Hedron Crab is great. Okay, because it's a 0/2 for 1 mana, so it's a little tougher than an average 1/1. It can block a 1/1, okay? And it helps you also deck your opponent whenever you play a land. For some reason, whenever you play a land, this crab finds a trinket in the ocean. Your opponent's deck goes bye-bye. So that's going in. Throw in another Jace's Phantasm. Let's see here. Other stuff to help you survive early game. Unsummon. Great card, instant. 1 mana. Return that to the creature's hand. Alright, we'll get to these other cards, right? Crippling Chill, look at this. 3 mana, tap target creature, doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So you can disable a creature for 2 turns for 3 mana as an instant, and you get to draw a card. And this, keep in mind, this could be good against offense, alright? But it can also be good against utility creatures that have tapping effects. You can prevent them from using it for 2 turns or force them to use it at a certain time. So I'm definitely taking 2 of these. Alright, it's fucking counter magic. I'm taking it. I don't even care what the hell it does. Okay? Clone, clone's good. You can clone what's the strongest thing there. Dreamborn Muse. But see, these aren't cost effective anymore. You're paying 4 mana for these 2/2 creatures. And I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm just saying we're talking about what you absolutely need just to survive. Okay, just to survive long enough. So once you get into 5 mana realm, that stuff's not about survival. Icy Manipulator, though, you need to take these cards. This shit goes back to Ice Age. Get an Icy Manipulator from the Ice Age. None of that cold snap bullshit. 4 mana for an artifact. Mono artifact back in the day, if you guys remember. You guys remember? Yeah. What am I talking about? I started playing in Stronghold. I don't know that either. Anyway, for 1 mana, every turn you can shut down one of their creatures. You can shut down one of their artifacts. You can shut down one of their lands. That's absolutely great. It'll help you survive. Sleep. Absolutely fucking necessary. Tap all the creatures. They all go. Look at that. Oh my god. It's like horses and sheeps and lions and shit lying down together, and there's merfolks and text. Okay. So right now I'm up to 76 cards. So before I work on all other cards I absolutely need in the deck, now I want to go through and take out cards we don't need at all. So Hedron Crabs we established we need. Jace's Phantasm feels like a good card to have. This one, the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and you draw a card. For 1 mana, that's not bad. It's an instant. It's not like it's going to instantly replace itself. So I want you to keep that in mind. Like, if you have these in your deck, it's basically like you have 3 fewer cards in your deck. As soon as you cast it, it replaces itself. Because it only costs 1 mana, other than like the first 2 turns or so, it's never really going to get in the way. So I'm going to keep those in the deck. Visions of Beyond. Oh my god, it's Ancestral Recall. Is that it? which one's the one that you just draw 3 cards? Alright, if the card has 20 more cards, then you get it. Alright, it's great. So I'm actually going to put the other one here. Wherever the hell it is. Where is it? Here we go. I mean, Jesus, 1 mana for 3 cards, and you're definitely going to get that in like 3 turns, so that's going in there. Okay? Counter spells are staying in. We need the counter magic. One thing I'm definitely going to take out is Howling Mine and those stupid fonts. Alright? Fonts of Mythos, whatever the hell it's called. And I'm going to explain to you right now why. The font of Mythos is great. Okay? These cards are great because, you know, your opponent... Alright, your opponents will run out of cards faster because they draw more cards. Okay? And it works great with that Jace enchantment, okay, that makes it whenever you draw a card, they get milled, okay? But here's the problem with these cards, is that these cards actually help the really fast decks. Because let's say you draw 3 cards a turn, they draw 3 cards a turn. Can you cast 3 spells a turn? Because I know fucking Goblin Gangland can! And those spells are goblins! So that's why these are out. It's because the decks that Jace is weakest to, okay, are the fast decks. So why would you put... See, these cards are great against slow decks because you can outplay them. But against fast decks, these will screw you over. And because Jace is naturally weak to fast decks, these are not going in my deck. Those are out. Okay? Just out! Out, damn spot, out. So because I'm not keeping those in the deck, I'm going to get rid of the Sapphire Medallions. Okay? We got plenty of stuff we can cast on turn 2, like counter spells and Into the Royals. Jace's Erasure, now since we got rid of those draw card things, I'm going to get rid of these. I might put him back. Let me think about it. Top 7 cards. Nah, I could go either way on it. And look at the mana curve. We got tons of 1 mana cards, which could be seen as good or bad. But at least it means that you have a board presence to start with. And you can cast 2 cards in the second turn, alright? So Mind Sculpt, I could go either way on. We're going to come back to that. Ether Adept, which is great. This is like, actually, it's kind of a weaker version of Mana War from Mirage, which is 2 and 1 blue, so it wasn't as color. It doesn't matter for this deck, but 2/2 when it comes to play, return target creature owner's hand. This for 3 mana, you get a 2/2 creature on the board that can block. All right, so it slows down the fast decks that way. Plus, it returns a card to the hand, which we talked about in my old Cloudburst strategy and other stuff. How bounce is so important. So that's why we're keeping those. That's why we're keeping Into the Royal. Okay, these things are great. All right, slows your deck down. And again, you don't need to get a permanent solution. If you slow them down long enough, they'll eventually lose just from running out of cards, okay? 4 mana for 2/2. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. This is interesting. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. In some ways, it's good because you can use it on yourself. If you're getting just stuck with crappy cards, then you can use it on your opponent. If you just want to mill them faster, you will get them the cards they can choose. I'm going to leave it for now. Clone is cool because for 4 mana... See, the problem with this deck is all your 4 mana creatures are kind of weak. You got 2/2, a 2/2, a 1/4 over here, okay? Clone for 4 mana has the potential to be a huge creature if they have a huge creature on the board. So you know what? Fuck it. Drop it in Clone, okay? Dreamborn Muse is just... Okay, we're going to come back to this. I'm going to take it out for now. I'm not saying it's bad. I just want to take it out so I can think about the other stuff. So right now, the stuff we have in the deck right now, for the most part, okay, it's absolutely necessary stuff, in my opinion. And people are like, Dream Factor sucks, they draw a card. Who cares? You draw a card too. So kind of you break even on it. Your opponent draws a card, you draw a card. But keep in mind, your opponent doesn't really want to draw a card necessarily, okay? Because they're getting milled. So it's kind of like you break even because you each draw a card, except he doesn't want to draw a card. So you kind of fuck him over a little bit. You still get the counter spell. Okay, counter spells are great. Whoa, 66 cards in this deck. Yeah, I'm kind of running out of space here. I need like way more milling power in this deck. Body double is quite interesting. 5 for 0/0 whenever it comes to play. You can, okay, and a graveyard. These are absolutely great. I'm going to take these because when you're milling people, it's like, bam, they just got fucked pretty hard. Because, you know, all their good creatures are probably in the graveyard. 4, wheel dealing. Okay, no. Okay, I get it. 4 mana, your opponent draws 7 cards. But it's not like that other one, Thought Scour, that's 2 mana and they lose 7 cards off the library. It's like you're giving them 7 fucking cards in their hand. All right, that could be bad. I'm dropping that. Mind Control, great. All right, it's great defense. Telement Performance, great. Can I throw in another Telement Performance? This thing, don't put this in there. 7 mana for 4/8. Oh, great. For 7 mana, it could be an 8/16 Shroud. 8/16, no trample. They could chump it all day and 7 mana. It's not going to happen. Chancellor's Pile, 7 mana, 5/7, right. This is actually pretty good. Against some decks, you can get infinite combos. It is 7 mana, though, so I don't know. This is interesting. Force Fruition. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, the player draws 7 cards. This is a game-ending card, right? If your opponent has, like, 30 cards left in the library, that means they can only play 4 more spells for the rest of the game, or they lose the game. Absolutely devastating. I'm putting this in. So people are like, oh, I don't like this. It's not like you're going to cast it on turn 1, guys, alright? Not going to cast it on turn 1. By turn 6, you would have milled them a little bit already. And I'm sure I have a little bit too much defensive stuff in here. Like this guy, he's 4 for 1/4. He could block. I kind of like him. I almost like him more than Dreamborn Muse because it's a 1/4 body. You know what? Yeah, I don't have Dreamborn Muse anymore, right? This thing, a 2/2 body. You know, I'm not digging the clones. I'm not digging the clones. All right. Attack of the clones. Don't like it. Sleep. Cool. These guys, as far as I'm concerned, can stay. But I got a kind of a problem here, right? I'm like absolutely running out of cards. So I gotta like ditch some stuff. And part of the problem right now is that 4 Jace's Phantasm, not really necessary. I'm not planning to kill them with flyers. I'm gonna cut down to 3. So I have a possibility. You know, 3 in general, the rule is if you have 3, you have a good chance of drawing 1 every game. 4 pretty much guarantees you're going to get 2, or you're going to get 1 in your opening hand, then 1 later. 3 is pretty safe. Let's see, what else do I want to cut out of here? Alright, this is too good card draw to not use. Slow them down, slow them down. Mind Sculpt, there's got to be a better way of, like... prosperity. That's rough. And let me see what other unlocks we got here. Grind Clock, in my opinion, this card sucks. You played your second turn, there's tons of other stuff you'd rather play second turn, like Counterspell. And by the way, you gotta like do this for like 4 turns, put charge counter or something. Yeah, it's too fucking complicated. Like Grindstone is way better, 1 mana. It's always 2 cards, okay? But basically what it allows you to do is if they share a color, you could get free. You know, I'm just gonna throw this in there. I'm just gonna throw it in. Because if they don't have artifact removal, they're fucked. Sands of Time, not a big fan. 3 mana, and then every turn you gotta burn tons of mana. Don't like it. Sands of Delirium, I'm sorry. And my mind could change about that, guys. I have absolutely no clue. I've never even played this deck. These swords, they're okay, but blue and green aren't your biggest problems. White and red are gonna be your biggest problems. Okay, you don't even have that many creatures in this deck. Why use it? We talked about Clone, we talked about Dreamborn Muse. I could change my mind on that. Wheel and Deal, we talked about. Archive Trap. 5 mana for an instant. If they search the library, they do 13 cards of the library into the graveyard. Now keep in mind, when players start the game, they're going to have 60 cards, they're going to draw 7. So they're going to be down to like 53. So basically, what is this, like 1/5 of their deck? So for 1/5 of their deck, it's like doing 20% damage. So for 0 mana, I'm going to throw that in there. This guy's 5 mana for a 1/5 flying. I know its effect is very good. And this person someone has absolutely destroyed me before with Scalpel Axis. But in my opinion, if they can remove it, if they can block it, okay, because it's a 1/5, then it doesn't matter. If they have anything in the air whatsoever, this isn't getting through. It's too risky. 5 is equal number of cards in your hand. It's not bad. 5 mana though. It could be worth it. Okay, Traumatize. In most circuits, you know what? I'm just kind of interested in just seeing how this plays. So I still have way too many cards, and look at my mana curve. So if you look at this, I would say even though I love 1 mana card spells, I have a little bit, at 4 mana, there's a lot of cards, and 1 mana is a lot of cards. So if I could drop any 4 mana cards, like, do I really need to have, I'm just going to ditch these Cephalid Brokers. Interesting in theory, I'm going to ditch them. Let's see what else we got here. Crippling Chills. Okay, fine. Mind Sculpt. And you notice here I don't actually have a lot of, stuff to mill them out super fast. And maybe that's a mistake, alright? Teleman Performance. Didn't I get more than 1 Teleman Performance? I love this card. In fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take Teleman Performance, okay? And I'm going to drop the Mind Controls. Because here's the other thing. If they don't have a good creature on the board, what does it matter, okay? Mind Control, 5 mana, I'm going to drop both of them. Body Double is great because it works with the whole mechanic of, melting down their library. And so does Teleman Performance. It basically throws stuff in the library. And you might not get the best creature, whatever. Mind Control, you can steal something, but whatever. You can always bounce it or counter it or something. And let's see, creatures 32%, very weak, but I do have those things that steal creatures. Mind Sculpts I think are just too effective to not be in there. You know what? And these Thought Scours, I'm almost like, what do I want to do here? I almost wonder if Jace's Phantasm is just a mistake. Because what else? What am I going to do on turn 1? I'm going to play those crabs, maybe? I guess I could play the Phantasm. And then I have nothing to do for that many turns? I don't know. I feel like this stuff is getting a little too heavy in here. Like, I need more cards taken out in the middle. Maybe I should get rid of these Visions of Beyond. 20 graveyards, 20 cards in your graveyard, but again, it's like 1 mana, it replaces itself instantly, so it's kind of like it's not even in your deck. You know what? Whatever. Can I just get rid of 1 more card? I'm sorry, I'm just talking to myself. I know, guys, I'm wasting all your time. I know it's really sad. Do I need 3 of these guys? No, I don't need 3 of these guys. Boom. Alright, 61 cards. I'm happy. Everyone, I'm Wingspan TT from TopTierTactics.com. I will post a video of me trying this deck out next, but I don't want to make one ridiculously long super video. I hope you see my admittedly drunken thought process and kind of see what I'm going through here, and we'll find out if it works. Alright? Cheers.